Hey, and welcome to your mobility sesh for today. We're gonna get right into it. So let's go ahead and start laying down with our knees bent. A nice and gentle way to get into it. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna windshield wiper our knees side to side. Your hands can go wherever they want. We're gently getting into our lower backs here, our hips, in a very nice and easy, gentle way to get that lower back moving here. This is a mobility exercise that you can do just even upon waking, laying in bed, waking your body up, getting into a part of the body that feels a little stiff for most folks. So you just think of keeping your feet hip width apart and then swaying your knees side to side. And you will notice that the hip on one side will come off the ground a little bit. That's okay. Keeping our shoulder blades down on the ground. And then just gently swaying our knees here. This doesn't ever have to be aggressive. There are lots of easy, gentle ways to do mobility. Most of them should feel that way. It may look different when you see me do some exercises. They may look a bit aggressive, but for me, I'm fine with them because I put the reps in, I've repeated them many times, so they feel very familiar for me. So getting started with this one here. Okay, the next one, we're gonna stay in the same position, down on the ground. Just straighten your legs out here. Now we're gonna get into the middle of our back. So what I'm gonna have you do is keep this part, the lower part of your body, laying down. I'm gonna have you reach with one arm across your body here. And then I'm gonna have you sweep your arm around in a semicircle. Now you'll see me do it on this other side. So then alternate to the other side, reaching, think of twisting from the middle of your back. So yes, my hip is coming off the ground, trying to keep it there, but I'm twisting from the middle of my back. I feel my shoulder blade going away from the spine. So reach across and then do a sweep, a semicircle motion here. Because we're also getting into our shoulders, opening up the shoulders, getting them overhead. So just keep alternating here as we go. Like I said, feel that twist coming from the middle of the back, but then also, like I said, feel your shoulder blade pulling away from the spine. So we're getting into those mid-back muscles between the shoulder blades and spine, the rhomboids and the traps, and then opening up the shoulder here as we're sweeping around above the body. If that feels too aggressive for you, feel free to just reach here and get your sweep. Like I said, it doesn't need to look like mine. Maybe this feels like a big enough stretch right here and not much of your upper back is coming off the ground. That's perfectly okay. Do it for the level that you're at. So if I'm here, I don't need yours to look like mine. Feel free to just get this arm reaching across, having that shoulder blade coming off the ground and still getting that arm above the head. If I'm touching the ground with my fingertips, feel free to just have it sweeping above the head. If that feels like a deep enough stretch for you, that's perfectly okay. It doesn't need to look like mine. And then one more here. Good. Now we're gonna come back to seated on the floor. I'm gonna have you bring your knees bent again and then hands behind you. So we're gonna get the shoulders and open up the chest in this position. We just went overhead. Now I'm gonna have you bring your arms behind you. So a tendency for most people with their hands back here will be to have their chest sinking down, shoulders rolling forward. You see how that just sunk in? I want you to think of having a proud sternum. It's a cue I use a lot. Proud sternum, opening up that chest. So you're gonna pull those shoulder blades back. So you see my chest is open, like I have a light on my sternum shining forward. And then I'm going to lift my hips off the ground and I'm gonna slide my hips forward off of the ground. So you'll feel a deep stretch in those shoulders there. If this is feeling too intense, feel free to just hold this position right here with that open chest. That may be where you're at for today. But if you're able to go a little more, keeping those hips off the ground, you can slide them forward and then pull back. So right now my hips are not making contact with the ground, and it's at this end range here that I feel the most intense stretch. And then I bring it back for a little relief. But don't, like I said, don't let the shoulders cave in, and don't let yourself hide that sternum. So proud sternum right here. And maybe you can come to this end range here, and then maybe you put your hips down and you stop and you just hold this open position. It's perfectly okay. Opening up that chest for so many folks who sit at a desk all day in this rounded upper back position. Opening up that chest here. Getting that stretch in the shoulders. One more here. Good. Now we're going to get into what may be an unfamiliar position for many folks. So this is where, like I said, yours does not have to look like mine. We're going to be doing a duck walk. It looks silly, and it's amazing for the ankles, knees, and hips. So what mine is going to look like, I'm able to get into this very deep squat position with a straight back still. If you're, let's see if we started from the top, if you're able to be right here, that's perfectly fine. What this is gonna look like is walking like a duck, getting really deep into my ankles, getting into the toes, that toe bend there, walking around. So like I said, yours does not need to look like mine. Yours may be a little bit higher here, and you're still bringing the knees over the toes, getting that deeper ankle bend and into the toes right there. Perfectly okay. I want it to be wherever you're at, because this is your mobility sesh for today. It's walking, duck walking here. And maybe you even want to stay in one position longer. So if I'm just holding here, getting into, so my butt, my hips are sitting on my heel in this position, and I'm just getting into that deep toe bend right there. And then maybe you take another step, and then you pause there, focusing on getting to that ankle, getting into those toes. Find what feels appropriate for you. And rest. Okay. Gets you a little winded there. We're gonna come to our last one. We're gonna get into our wrists now. Personally, for me, this one feels very unfamiliar and uncomfortable. We're gonna be in this position on our wrists. So you're gonna have your own body weight helping you relieve some of the weight that you're putting on your wrists. So we're gonna start palms up, fingertips facing each other, and then we're gonna push into this fist position. So adjust maybe to what feels good there. And then from this wrist support, this fist support position, we're gonna come back down. And this is where I feel that deep stretch on either side here. Feels more familiar going this way? We're going this way here. And if I put all my weight on it, that would be no buens there. So I'm actually holding, as you can see, I'm holding myself up with the rest of my body, putting some of my own body weight on the wrists there, and then pushing up into that wrist support. Wrist, I'm getting wrist and fist support position there. If this feels too aggressive, like I said, lighten up some of the weight that you're, put less weight on your wrists, or you could also do maybe one at a time, where it feels better to alternate here, so you can just focus on one, hold into this wrist in that fist position. This is really good for strengthening the wrists. I know that for me, with my small wrists relative to the rest of my body size, those are a point in my body that could use a more strengthening. So do this, like I said, alternating, if you want to focus on one at a time, or both here, whichever one feels best for you. Getting into some unfamiliar territory. People will say, oh, this is hard. I remind all my clients and students, it's not that it's hard, it's that it's unfamiliar because we just haven't put enough reps in for it to feel second nature. Let's do one more here. Whew, and rest. That is it for your mobility sesh for today. I will see you all next time. Ciao.